At any point in life, all that we know is based on the past. All the data that we have collected sits in our minds, and that is what we have access to. This is not just limited to our personal experiences. This is a sum of all our experiences. The data from books, TV, movies, news, internet, our parents, others around us, everything we learn about ourselves, others, the world, all this is stored in our conscious and subconscious minds, and it determines how we live our lives, how we make the choices that we do. For example, let's say you read happily ever after stories growing up, and now you're looking for a similar relationship because you think it will make you happy. Or you saw in movies that people who have big boats, big houses, flashy cars, they seem to have all the fun. And so you make this association in your mind that you need all these things to have joy, fun, friends. Or your favorite aunt used to like the color blue, and now it's your favorite color as well. Now, these are straightforward and obvious examples, and the way our minds make connections are more nuanced and complex. Yet, it is true. Everything is based on the data that we store in our minds. When you hear the word roller coaster, you will feel a certain way depending on your past association, depending on the kind of memories you had. Some may feel happy and excited, others may be scared, some may not even care. It all depends on what past association you have with this word or memories related to it. Even if you want to change something, let's say someone is scared of roller coasters, but then they see these new 3D motion simulator rides and they think that, okay, in the past I was scared of roller coasters, but these new ones seem exciting and safe, so maybe I can try these. So here also, it's all based on the data in your mind. From the past, you know that you were scared, and now you maybe saw it on the internet that these new rides are safer. So ultimately, everything is based on what you have in your minds. Try it, think of something, and see if it is true for you. On the other hand, if you hear something like, what is your reaction? You are confused because you cannot draw any associations to it. There is no data related to it that exists in your mind. That's the reason we can never think outside the boxes of our minds. We can only think in terms of standard life that stays confined to limits or breaking the mold and stepping out of these norms. So we can have a mental picture of how life looks like on the beaten path or off the beaten path, but we cannot comprehend how life on a completely unknown trajectory will look like. This is the reason unknown is both thrilling and scary, because it could turn out either way. There is no script. That's why we like these alien sci fi movies so much, because the limits are relaxed. But when it comes to our own lives, we only want to go for the known, the familiar, even if it is uncomfortable. Depending on what experiences we had, I have my own definition of what is safe and known and what is unsafe and unknown. And you have yours. We don't have to go so far out as outer space or aliens. Even within our everyday lives, we can have experiences which are vastly different based on our interactions with our environments. For example, someone who grew up and only had bad relationship examples in front of them, and they saw in movies and read books where they could see that people have good, healthy relationships, and they try to go for that kind of relationships, but they will have a tough time because their mind only knows the script for these dysfunctional relationships. So they will aim for one but find themselves in the other one time and again. They will have to do a lot of inner work to change that script so that they can ultimately be in a healthy relationship. So they can only think in between these two limits. Beyond this, they will never know that there could be other ways to have a good relationship because it exists outside of the awareness of their minds. In my opinion, we give a lot of responsibility and credence to our mind. It is only limited to what it knows, directly or indirectly. And so, we are limited to these expressions which fit within these two limits. Wouldn't it be a better idea to allow ourselves experiences out of the box of what the mind thinks is possible? We feel exhilarated when we try new things, when we go to new places. It's a never before. There are no preconceived notions. It's a novelty. Sure, it may turn out to be pleasant or unpleasant, but it's the unknown. And the mind quiets down during these experiences because it is still processing. It doesn't have any preconceived notions about it, it doesn't have previous data about it. So it tries to process all the information that is coming in before it can start comparing or commenting. That's why we like these experiences. Same goes for people going on new expeditions, breaking records in sports, diving into uncharted territories. The glass ceiling is being broken, and so there is room for new. How about we try this in our own lives? Instead of turning to the mind to dig through everything inside us, go through all the past data, and come up with solutions, instead of that, why don't we explore ourselves and try new things? Especially in the scenarios when something is not working out for us, because all the mind knows is the past, and so it keeps creating from the past, and we that's why I sometimes wonder why we keep reliving the same patterns again and again, why we try so many times to get out of a bad situation, but time and again we find ourselves back into the same scenarios. We can use the mind to aid and assist us, but we don't have to limit ourselves only to the past. We can be cautious and make safe decisions, but we keep forging ahead instead of stopping every time the mind says it's the unknown. That way, we can truly experience out of the box living. And then we can see how far we can go, what kind of new experiences we can have, instead of reliving the old patterns that do not serve us, just because that's the script the mind knows. So, next time your mind tries to stop you saying that it is the unknown, keep going ahead, see where it can lead you, what lies beyond your limits. It may happily surprise you. Thanks for watching.